Okay, now we deal with how what I call maliceignorance distorts the truth. Maliceignorance is an amalgamation of words, it's a combination of words, malice and ignorance. Together, that's maliceignorance. So, people who maliciously distort the truth, and people who distort the truth because they just don't have the capacity to understand it. In fact, all human beings fall into the second category. I don't think, even though we're the most, our brain, our mind is the most powerful, at least object that's ever been made, the human brain, in terms of computational power. Even though we do have the capacity to understand the whole truth, it's not available to us. Okay? Right now, scientists are still struggling with the concept of free will. Does it exist or not? Quick answer is it exists, but it's not applicable to every situation. Like, for example, you never have the ability to choose whether to be a boy or a girl before you're born. You don't have that ability. You find out you're a boy or a girl 4 or 5 years afterward. You never choose to be born. You just find yourself being born. There's certain limits to free will. There are certain situations where it's obsolete and it's non-applicable. Okay? So it does exist, but only in certain situations, certain conditions, under certain conditions. Yeah? So we currently do not understand what the truth, the absolute truth looks like, because although we have the capacity, it's not available to us. And two, because some of us are maliciously trying to make sure we never understand the truth. If it's something that contradicts what they believe in, they would rather we don't know that truth. If someone believes this is what's happening today, if someone believes that, um, let's say something really basic. If someone believes that um, carbon can be carbon can only exist as a gas, yeah, and then you show him graphite and diamond, um, they will say, okay, we have to hide all the graphite and diamond so that people don't find out that carbon can exist as a solid. All right, it's like that. By doing that, they're distorting the truth. People who don't want us to know the truth because it contradicts what they believe are ruining our ability to know the truth. They're bringing falsehoods. Yeah. So what we're seeing emerging is a distorted truth. You need to tell yourself this. It will help you fight. Those of you who've been following me, you know how. Those who haven't, I'll touch on it a little bit later. Okay? So the truth as we know it has been distorted by malice and ignorance. Okay? So, how much trust can you have in the truth that we know? I'm a scientist. Yeah? I'm a master of science, so I can call myself a scientist. Anyway, so even us as scientists, we are put under pressure, political pressure within the academic world. You hear of scientists saying that they've made discoveries, but they've been brushed aside because people don't want. Like, for example, giants. I saw a documentary the other day, and they said they don't want to admit that giants are there, so any evidence pertaining to giants being discovered has been brushed away, and people have been bullied and targeted. Yes, scientists get targeted. Have been targeted for trying to expose that idea. Now, when we, the scientists that are presenting the truth to you, are doing that, yeah, you see, you need to know these things, yeah, because scientists get leaned on, yeah. It used to be religious people that lean on them. Anything that contradicts what the church says, don't discover it, don't look in that area. That's what they used to do. And they even executed Copernicus for saying that the earth is round, but now the worm has turned. Yeah. Now they're looking to execute people for saying that the earth is flat. And it's not the church who's doing it this time, it's the other side. Still the same thing. Both sides distort the truth. To find the truth, the only truth there is the one you see with your own two eyes. That's the only truth there is. The only truth that matters is what's the way it is, not the way it should or the way it could be. The way it is, that's all that matters. The pragmatic truth is all that matters. The way it is. It might not be nice right now, it might be nice. But the way it is better than sitting there saying it should be like this or it could be like this. Those are things that haven't materialized yet. The only thing that's materialized is the way it is. That's what you're dealing with. That's tangible evidence. That's the only thing you can draw your conclusions on. That's the only thing you can apply your free will to. Otherwise, you don't have any free will if you apply it to things that should be or things that could be. Because like we know, if somebody asked you, I'm going to fire a photon through two slits, which one is it going to go through? You can't predict that. You cannot predict that. You get two guesses and you can still be wrong. It's either left or right, and then somewhere in the middle. See, the only circumstances where you can apply free will is on when you're applying it on the pragmatic truth, on the truth the way it is right now. Yeah, we do not know the gravitational forces and and all the four forces of the universe might change their specification in the future, which will mean that the physical laws that we know, the laws of nature as we know it, will be subject to change. So we can only deal with the truth the way it is now. There's no absolute truth because there's a fluctuation component, the fluctuation dimension to reality. So there is no absolute truth. Okay? The truth will always be changing, fluctuating. Yeah, the truth will always be changing. Okay? Now, society has been hijacked by people who don't want to hear it when they're wrong. I won't name them because they don't want to hear it. Yeah? And these are the people who are distorting science right now. These are the people that you say, okay, look, I got my test. Yeah? This is how I test for bullshit. This is how I know when something is true or false. I have only one assumption. My assumption is that the extinction of mankind is wrong. That's the only assumption I have. The extinction of mankind is wrong. That's the only assumption I have. Okay? To know whether something is right or wrong, if it's to be applied 100% to the population, will they become extinct? If the answer is yes, what you're doing is wrong. Okay? Now, if you tell these people that, okay, let's see if what you're doing is right. Let's take 100 rats, put them in one box, do to them what you want to do to the human race, 100%, and leave one box untouched. If you come back and those rats are dead, yeah, what you're doing is wrong. You can't do it to the population. Okay? But they won't allow us to conduct those experiments because they'll prove that they're wrong. And anything that we can discover that proves that they're wrong, they'll bury it. Okay? It used to be the church that's doing it, but now it's the other side that's doing it. It's the non-believers who have become so strong that they're doing the exact same thing. It's like we jumped out of the frying pan and landed into the fire. You see? So, and these are people who they're addicted to the means. Okay? They don't care who rules. I don't care who rules. I don't care what system it is, but for different reasons. So we're going to sound like it. They don't care what system rules. They'll just infiltrate that and turn it towards evil. They don't care if it's the church that rules or the non-believers that rule. If the church rules, they'll infiltrate that and make them do that. Make them attack the truth. If the infidels, if the non-believers rule, they'll infiltrate them and make them attack the truth. They don't care what system. I don't care what system governs the human race. Whatever it is, I'll learn to cope. I'll have to deal with it. I just have to deal with it. So I'm not going to stop anyone from rising to the top. I might not side with you, but I will not stand in your way. Okay? I will not stand in your way, but I'm not going to side with you. If what you're doing, I put it through my test and I see extinction, I will never join you. But that don't mean I'll stand in your way, because someone has to populate hell. You know, what's the point of having hell there when there's no one there? Somebody's got to go. Anyway, but that's just fight talk. So, I told you I'll get back to that subject, why you need to know this. Yeah. When you're fighting, most of the nocebo effect that gets induced in you is put there by your general practitioners and your medical professionals. There's been instances where they've told someone you've got 2 weeks to live and they're still alive. Yeah. Those instances happen. Why? Yeah. The people who survived that never trusted the doctor in the first place. You see, if you hold them in high esteem, yeah, whatever they tell you, you believe it and you start to make it yourself even when you don't have it. If someone you trust completely tells you something, that's hypnosis. You start to give yourself that. Their medicine works, but they're being leaned on by external pressures. So we have to reduce our trust level in them, not because we don't trust them as human beings, but because we know they're being leaned on. They're being forced to give us false diagnosis and prognosis, or whatever they call it. Yeah? Somebody could ask your doctor to tell you that you're going to die in 2 weeks. And if you trust your doctor like you're a puppet, you make yourself die in 2 weeks. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah? Remember, the emergent truth is distorted by maliceignorance. So you cannot trust the truth for that reason. Okay? For that reason. Okay? Every day we see people who offer a different opinion from the mainstream being bullied. This is the reason why we can't trust it. Being played out in front of our eyes. Science is supposed to be a debate between people. We just debate. We're going to disagree. They can't even agree on whether it's quantum mechanics or determinism, yeah, that governs the universe. But both theories are still there. Yeah, we're going to disagree. Yeah? But to tell some scientists that we've chosen this side, so we're going to bury you. You're doing the same thing Constantine did. So now we only have a watered down, sensitized version of the Bible. All the other books, they persecuted them and burned them down. It's a distorted Christianity that organized religion is following. The only time you can know Christianity properly is if you see Christ with your own two eyes. Okay? I don't follow the distorted Christianity, man. I follow the proper one. And it also promotes an eye for an eye. If you reciprocate, Christ didn't come here to oppose the law. He came here to make us understand it better. And that's what I do. But remember to treat the truth with a pinch of salt. Maliceignorance. That's the BS that's fucking us up.